Right, so today's Java 4 lesson 4, and today we're going over something called interface. So interfaces are another type of thing. It's sort of like generic classes and abstract classes. It's another type of thing that you can package stuff in, and yeah, this is just going over something else that you might find in the Java world or that you might need to use. So definition wise, an interface is a class that can only contain constants, and that's explained later in another lesson, static methods and abstract methods. So example of an interface you can see here. Actually, not an example of interface yet, but it's continuing on multiple pages, so you'll see. I'm not going to go over this part since you need to see the other part first. So this is the rest of the code. So this is where the interface starts, and you can see that. So I have an interface here, keyword, and then this is the name, of course. Again, inside curly brackets, you can see something sort of similar to abstract classes that we saw before. Just notice that where before we did like public abstract void display, this time we don't add the abstract and we don't add the public. It's just like whatever your return type is and the name of it, parentheses, semicolon. So that's because methods in interfaces are automatically public and abstract. So that's why you don't have to put it here. You could put it there. Like it wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't cause an error or anything, but it's just extra code that you might want to save. So usually if you did it this way, like shorthandedly, then it's fine. The next thing you can see here is this static method. And so I guess I never really explained this, and I didn't really know myself until like recently. But one time, one of you saw that you could program static methods in a class, and that's actually, it does work. Like it does work. I didn't teach it before since I didn't know about it until now, and I never like truly knew about it. But it is possible to put static methods within regular classes like this. It's just that instead of using an object to call it, then you would actually use the name of whatever it is and then dot whatever the name of the method is. And if you go back, sorry, if you go back to the lesson slides for Java 3 about classes before, I think, wait, no, static methods, sorry. Then you will see I changed it to reflect it. I'm just telling you right now so that you know you have the information and you can work through these problems. But yeah, so it is possible to have static methods in here. It just work like normal, and you can see that we have static int prepare, and then return this. So in this case, it kind of works like when we have abstract classes with the regular methods. This wouldn't be counted as an abstract method since it doesn't have the abstract keyword, even though we said that it's already implied. Since we already wrote out all this implementation, Java knows that this is a regular method instead of an abstract method. So this is not counted as an abstract method, and you wouldn't have to implement this in subclasses. Again, like public, usually you see a public here. Public is already implied, so it doesn't, you don't have to add it. Okay, moving on. So you can see here that we have a class now. So class shape implements random. And so just note here that instead of extends like we used before with when we want to extend classes, like have subclasses and superclasses, this time we use implements, and that's specifically for interfaces. So whenever you want to, it's an instance variable, we set it with an integer a that's passed in. And over here, we override it. And notice, since there's only one abstract method in this interface, which is the display method, then we only have to override this one. So again, you just overriding it is basically the same as always. You just do public void display, making sure this thing is the same as this thing. You have to add the public in the class though, since like technically it's not implied here. Public is not implied here, so you have to add it here. But otherwise it's the same as always. Regular code for that. So if you scroll up back to this original part, you can see here that we created an object of the shape class, and then we set it with 5, and we did s.display, which if you look back on the code here would print out sides, which should be 5 since we passed this in, so it would print out 5. But then notice here that I want to use the static method right here in interfaces, and so what I do the name of whatever it's in, and in this case it's in the interface random, and then dot repair, which is the name of the method, and it should print out 12 because 5 plus 7 is 12. And yeah, so just keep in mind this is I didn't put it before, so it's best to learn it right now so that you understand how to do it. Anyway, so that's the code part of it. So declaring interfaces. So a little bit more about interfaces. So again, the methods of an interface are automatically public and abstract, so there's no need to manually put it in the code. So note how for the static methods, you would have to write out the whole method instead of just a declaration. That's mainly because like static methods, like when you put static, it's already implied that it's a regular method. So you would have to write out the whole method. If you didn't, there'd probably be an error with that. So this also means that when you're implementing this interface, you would not be able to override it, the method like with abstract methods. In general, though, you can still override a method, I'm pretty sure. But like there's no need to override the method like with abstract methods. So again, just remember that static methods are called differently from instance methods. Yeah, apparently can't be passed on, but anyways. So just like more clarification. So if you're doing an instance methods, they're called through an object, remember? So you have to create an object first and then use the object name dot method name. But with static methods, you do the class name or interface name or whatever it's in, and then the name. I think I already emphasized that enough. But anyways, moving on. You can also implement multiple interfaces at once, though be sure to override all of the methods. Methods as in abstract methods. If you have a static method, again, you don't have to override it. Example of what a class declaration line might look like, assuming that A and B are both interfaces. And you can see we have an example here. So class random implements A, comma B, and then whatever code's in here. So extending classes and implementing interfaces. So a single class, usually just like the max limit you can extend is up to 1 class. So in general, when you're extending classes, you can only extend 1 class. You can't extend more than that or else you're going to get an error. You could also just not extend class, of course. But it can implement as many interfaces as it wants. So you might also extend a class and implement an interface at the same time. So an example of the declaration line would be something like this. And again, using the class random example. So class random extends shape, implements A, comma B. So just notice that extends, when you're extending a class, it should always be before the implements part. Otherwise, there's going to be an error if you switch to 2. So always think of it as superclass first and then interfaces. And of course, always have a comma separating the interface names or else it's going to get jumbled and Java's not going to know which one you're referring to. Extra notes. So if you have subclasses off of a superclass that implements an interface, then those subclasses will already implement the interface without having to declare it again. Because it's already linked together in a way. So the subclasses don't have to override the methods in the interface, since the superclass should have already done it, and the subclass would just inherit the overridden method. So that's just a note if you ever encounter that problem in problems. And interfaces can implement interfaces with the extends keyword. Again, with that, there's more like technical stuff with that personally I'm learning right now, so I'm not completely sure about that. You can like find it on the internet about something like that, but generally though, I'm not gonna ask that you implement interfaces. I'm not gonna ask you to do that. Yeah, so just rest assured that this is not gonna come up on the test. I'm not gonna add anything in until I'm sure it's something that I can teach. Otherwise, I might be thinking of doing an extra course for like other stuff. So there's a chance that this might end up in that course, but we'll see about that. Don't worry about this. This is not going to end up in a test, not in any problems. Yeah. Anyways, I think that would be about it for this lesson. Class problems will come soon enough. Right, so instead of me giving problems this time, like always, switching it up a bit. So we're going to be doing a little bit. So you guys create the problems, and then we answer them. I mean, like, you guys, students, make problems, and then you share it, and then you do the problems that the other person did. So that makes it a little bit more easy. I think maybe I'll show it in a second. But yeah, so create the problems, and then we'll see what happens with that. Right, so these end up being the problems. I cut the first one out, the comprehension one, since we don't have that much time to do it. So it's only the programming problems and the determined output problems. So these are created by our students. Wait, that sounded wrong. Anyways, so yeah, these weren't created by me. These were all by the students. So gonna give credit and all later on, but we're not gonna do it right now. But these are all not created by me. If you want to, you can do these problems again just to practice. Make sure you're familiar with it. These are all good problems, so just make sure to do it and practice it if you need to. Otherwise, that'll be it for this lesson.